South African authorities have initiated a process to secure the extradition of self-proclaimed prophet shepherd Bushiri and his wife. In a live Facebook broadcast on Saturday, Bushiri reveals that he and his wife fled to his native Malawi. They face charges of fraud, theft and money laundering. Joining me now is IPID spokesperson Ndileka Kola. Thank you very much for your time and for joining us. So, Bushiri claims he and his wife fled for their own safety, saying that police had failed to act on threats they received against their lives. He also claims to have told several ministers and high-ranking law enforcement officials, including former State Security Minister Bongani Bongo and former intelligence boss Arthur Fraser, about these threats, and they allegedly brought this to the attention of IPID. Have these claims reached your office?
Good afternoon, Andrew, and good afternoon to your viewers, and thank you for having IPID. What I can confirm is that there is a case that was opened by Bushiri's lawyer with IPID in 2018, and this case is for alleged police corruption. Or anything else other than that, I am not empowered actually to be speaking on. But what I can tell you is that the case that Bushiri opened with IPID, our investigators have been working on this case, but there has been poor cooperation from him, apparently due to his busy schedule, and as a result there was no information that was forthcoming that would then capacitate our investigators to be able to get into the bottom of what happened in terms of the alleged corruption that he was laying against the police officers. And due to his non-cooperation, this case is still waiting for him to provide more information, because remember, our investigation officers work on information that is available at hand. It is the information that helps them to detect what transpired. He needs to come forth. He needs to inform us who are these police officers that he alleges that they extorted some cash from him. And if he's not prepared to do that, but he has only opened a case with IPID, then he's in a way disabling our investigators to do their job. And as such, this case is still waiting for him to still provide more information to investigation officers of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate.
So the claims he has made are serious. Making a claim that you have been extorted by members of the South African Police Service, that's a serious claim. Failure then to provide any kind of information or proof that this has in fact transpired, would you as the IPID say that that takes away from the merit of such a claim?
Definitely not. It does not make the claim any less important. It does not invalidate the claim. But we work with information. As IPID, we must get credible information. We cannot go ahead and investigate and proceed to make recommendations or to take this matter to court if we have not been able to get information. Remember, the primary mandate of IPID is to ensure that we investigate any alleged police misconduct within the SAPS. So for us to investigate, basically, we are gathering evidence, we are gathering information. We have to know, we have to get witness statements, for example. The victim himself must come forward and inform IPID of the police officers that he alleges that they have extorted money from him. And without that sort of information, he is sort of disabling the investigation process, because without any sort of credible information or any information that IPID is able to work with and verify its credibility and do its investigative work on, then we've got less to work with. And this has been the problem for us, because his busy schedule, as he would indicate to our investigators, it is what has led to his matter with IPID to still be incomplete at this point in time. Our investigators were quite prepared to go and identify the suspect with him, but again, due to his busy schedule, he didn't avail himself to come with IPID investigators and identify the suspects that he alleges that they have extorted money from him. And as a result, we are still waiting for him as IPID to come back and give IPID information that is going to enable the directorate to do its oversight role over police and ensure that there is any sort of police misconduct any sort of police corruption that goes undetected and that goes unreported, that goes uninvestigated, and that does not have its day in court. So it is really a challenge for IPID when we deal with victims of people like him that are not forthcoming with information, because it
understandably so. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
We remain very much committed as IPID to ensure that we root out any sort of alleged corruption within the police conduct. But to do that, the victims must also play their part.
Well, thank you very much for that clarification. Before I do let you go, I also want to find out from you, we've been reporting all day about the planned closure of one of the units within the IPID, the decommission of the National Specialized Investigation Team. Can you tell us why that decision has been taken?
Okay. Recently, IPID has taken a decision that it's going to dissolve its NSIT to ensure that we beef up our investigation capacity within the provinces. You'd recall that most of our cases are reported and they are investigated at the level of the province. Now there's this unit that is called NSIT that we've just spoken about, which is the National Specialized Investigation Team, that was taken to head office to deal with complex matters of corruption, what they call systematic corruption. But now what is happening is that there's a magnitude of cases that IPID is dealing with at the provincial level. And then after careful consideration of the load of work and the deteriorating economic circumstances that IPID has. IPID is quite constrained when you come to resources. This includes human resource, this includes financial resources. So the leadership has then assessed the current situation as it is part of the leadership, the responsibility of the leadership, to take a decision that is going to ensure that at the end of the day, we provide better services to the people. So the investigators that were then based in head office have then been, a decision has been taken that they must go back to provinces to ensure that they increase the capacity of investigation in the provinces so that they can also fast-track the cases. You know that some of our victims sometimes complain that I have reported this case with IPID, and sometimes they take time. Of course, there are other matters that challenge IPID, like dependencies. But when it comes to human resources, we're just trying to ensure that we beef up the investigation capacity at the provincial level where their skills are required and really needed mostly.
Understandably so. Who will then tackle those cases of magnitude that affect police services on a national scale?
Those cases continue. What happens is that what the leadership has done has looked at the scale of cases that investigators that are based in her head office deal with against the caseload that investigators have at the provincial level. And when looking at that, they realized that it was really unjust for other investigators to have like smaller cases that they're dealing with, whilst others have got cases that are in hundreds per investigators. In one of the provinces like Gauteng, for example, Gauteng investigators, each investigator would have plus minus 400 cases, close to 500 from some other investigators. So whilst we've got other investigators that have got a bit less of work, so they're going to still continue with the work that they do on systematic corruption. And the cases that they are already working on, they are still going to continue with those cases. But as and when they are not working on those cases, and as and when they start, because remember, investigation process have got dependencies. So sometimes they're sitting there waiting for ballistic reports, they are waiting for witness statements, they're waiting for DNA tests for depending on the nature of the case that they are dealing with at that particular point in time. So IPID believe that there's time that they have on their hand that can be utilized to ensure that we provide a better service to the people of South Africa and ensuring justice for any police misconduct.
Well, thank you very much. We understand, therefore, that it's just a redistribution of assets. Thanks for speaking to us, IPID spokesperson Ndileka Kola.